Hey guys, what's going on? Abby here. Welcome back to another Destiny 2 video. Today's video is a guide on the Exodus Garden 2A Lost Sector, the 1250 version this time. My previous two guides have been for the 1280. They also work for the 1250, but this one in particular, I do not think it's worth it to run it on the 1280 version, and here's why. The 1280 version adds 2 additional champions, and they are both barrier servitors, and they are both in the boss room, which is extremely annoying because the boss and its little servitor buddies like to hide a lot, and it means you are pretty much required to run a distance anti-barrier weapon, which for the season of the hunt we really only have the pulse rifle as that option. The exotic outbreak can work really well, but I know that not everyone has that weapon since it's not in the kiosk yet and the activity has been vaulted. So for this lost sector, I'm going to show you how to run the 1250. Of course, you can do this on 1280 if you want to, but I don't think the drop rate is increased enough to justify the time spent killing the last 2 barrier champions. In this lost sector, we're going to be running into overload champions and barrier champions, 2 of each, and also void shielded servitors. We're starting out with Hunter, but I'll have timestamps down below for Titan and Warlock. I chose Bottom Tree Gunslinger because it's the fastest way to kill the boss in this lost sector. You could also go with Stasis if you want, as Stasis makes it easier to stun the overload champions. The weapons are going to be the same across all classes, but you do have a lot of options here, which I've tried to list out for you guys. The weapons that I settled on here for the fastest, most efficient way to get through this 1250 lost sector are the Nightwatch Scout Rifle for the overload champions, the Risk Runner SMG for anti-barrier, and also because we're going to be taking a lot of arc damage, which will allow us to chain to the other enemies, and then the Guillotine Sword. All of these weapons are pretty easy to acquire through quests and world drops. We're running Celestial Nighthawk as our armor exotic, and here are our armor mods. I also switched to Protective Light since we're not running any Warmind Cell weapons. Alright, let's get into the lost sector. So up first, we're going to have a void shielded servitor. Take it out quickly with the guillotine, swap over to your Risk Runner, and you should see some arc charge around your character. That means that the arc conductor exotic perk of the Risk Runner is active, and you'll start chaining to enemies. Clear out as many dregs as you can, and then you'll notice on your radar there's a red spot over by the door here. This is where the first barrier champion comes out. We're going to take him out quickly with the sword. If your power level's a little bit lower and you can't take out that barrier champion just with your sword, and you're going to need to break the barrier, you can also use your Risk Runner to do that. After you're done with the barrier servitor, you're going to see your first overload captain. We want to make sure to stun him either with our grenade or our scout rifle, and then quickly take him out with the guillotine. And then we're going to get a bunch of dregs. The only one that you really need to look out for is the one that jumps up top. You can see him right there. So I'm actually going to jump up there and get him because he can really do some damage to you if you're not careful. And then make sure you take those exploder shanks out because they can get you as well. On to the second to last little area here, we're going to get this overload. Try to stun him right away immediately, because if the servitor comes out, the barrier servitor or the other servitor, there's also a void shielded servitor right there. Those servitors can actually immune the overload, and it can get very, very frustrating trying to kill the servitor while the overload is roaming around. If he does get immune, then you're going to have to try and take out the barrier servitor first. And then after that, you're just going to clear out the rest of the room until the final servitor spawns. Besides the champions, the only other enemies you really have to worry about are the yellow bar dregs. They can hit you pretty hard, so just be wary of that. And then once we're going into the boss room, we're just going to pull out Golden Gun. Make sure you can see the crit spot of the boss, that is the bigger servitor. And then that's it. Once you kill the boss with your golden gun, you are done. You don't need to kill any of the other ads in the boss room. You can just go collect your loot. All right, on to the Titan. We're going to be going with the Sunbreaker bottom tree right here for the sunspots. Same weapons as always. And then on our armor, we're also going to be using Wrath of Rasputin, which is going to give us Warmind cells on solar splash damage kills. And we're using the Armamentarium as our exotic for the extra grenade, but you could also go with Hollow Fire Heart as well. Because I had an extra solar energy affinity armor piece, I also am using Charged Up, which is going to give me an extra charge with light charge going up to ×3, which is going to enable us to use our reactive pulse a lot more. We're going to make sure we have Lucent Blade up, stuff like that, but you could always put Protective Light if you have a void piece or anything else that you want, really. The runs for all the classes are going to look pretty similar on here. The solar grenades are not really the most consistent at stunning the overloads, which is why I like to also run a scout rifle, but you can definitely use Surge Eater to get your grenades back quicker and clear out a lot of the ads. Once again, we're going to go up top and get the yellow bar. Make sure you clear out all the sneaky exploder shanks. And then stun and kill the overload as quickly as possible. Like I mentioned in the hunter one, you don't want that servitor to get out and start immuning the overload because it becomes very difficult to clear them out. I don't know what the hell happened with this exploder shank, but we just ignored it and it was okay. You'll see my reactive pulse going off a lot in this area because we're surrounded by enemies and we're constantly getting charged with light from our orbs. We're going to make sure to kill the last servitor. That's what opens the boss room. You don't need to clear any of the other ads in that room once the boss room is open. However, if you're taking damage from them, you're going to want to clear them out. And then we go ahead and pop our hammers for the boss. You probably won't kill the boss in one full super, so if he's close enough to you, you can go ahead and sword him. If not, you may need to back out and use your scout rifle to finish the boss. Alright guys, last up is going to be the Warlock. Same weapons as always. As you can see, we're going to be going into Voidwalker top tree here for the Nova Bomb, which we're going to use for the boss kill. And then we've got Nezarec Sin as our exotic armor piece, but really you could use whatever you want. We're going to put on Lucent Blade here for a faster run through this lost sector, and here we go. Same thing as the previous two, we're going to use the dregs and the shanks to get our arc conductor going on our risk runner, clear out all the ads, and then as soon as that barrier champion comes out of that back door, we're going to head on over there and kill it with our sword. Like I said in the hunter one, if you can't kill it right away with the sword and it keeps putting its barrier up, you can also just use your risk runner to take it down. And then make sure you always clear that yellow bar drag that jumps up to the top there because he can do a lot of damage. And if you are a little bit under leveled, you're going to take more of that damage than I did in this. And then like I said in the previous two run throughs before, you want to try and take that overload champion out as quickly as possible before the servitor has a chance to immune it. And then we're going to use our risk runner to clean up the rest of the ads. We're really just waiting for the last servitor to spawn out of this room here, and that's what triggers the boss room door to open. Do make sure you take out the yellow bar dregs though, because they do a lot of damage. And after we take out that last server, the boss room is going to open. We're going to jump up as high as we can up to the boss and shoot our Nova Bomb out. Alright guys, that is it for the Exodus Garden 2A, the 1250 Lost Sector, which I would highly recommend over the 1280. I got a lot of exotics during my testing for all these runs, so if it's a piece you're looking for, definitely go and farm it out. Also, thank you guys so much for your support on the channel. I've been really putting a lot of time into this YouTube channel to make it great for you guys, so I appreciate the support. We are almost at 25k subs, so if you haven't already, make sure you hit that sub button. Leave this video a like if you enjoyed it. Also, I'm leaving a link down below in the description where you can become a member for additional perks like a sub-only Discord, access to videos that are not public on my channel, and emotes and badges and stuff that you can pop in the comments. But I'll see you guys next time.